Hi everyone, welcome to VRC with Gaurav. In this video, we are going to pick up passage number 24 from the book RC99 by Aristotle. Let's begin. Before we get started with the RC passage, this is a brief bio of mine. If you're looking for a good CAT coaching institute with absolutely no BS and somebody who is genuinely concerned with you acing your exams and going to a good B school to move forward ahead in your career, you might want to reach out to me either on this mail ID or on this contact number. You can call me practically almost any time, or you might like to visit this website, bellthecat.co.in. Bell the Cat is actually the name of my academy. I especially focus on coaching students in the verbal section, and then later on, after your results come in, guiding you during your GDPI process. Okay. Without any delay, let's get started. As usual, I recommend that you pause the video here, read the entire passage on your own, then use the timestamps that I've put in the description box to go to the questions, jot down the answers. Slight departure from the pattern which was there in the past 7, 8, 10 passages. This one has 4 questions to it. Okay. Also keep in mind, try to have a timer running in parallel the moment you start reading the passage. It's always a good idea to maintain a track of how much time you take per passage as well as the accuracy. Okay. So chalo, let's get started with the explanation. The genre, as you can see here, assuming that you have read it, solved it, the genre of the passage is very straightforward, natural science based, or simply you can call it as science based RC. But still, in spite of that, the passage is not heavily technical in nature. Okay? The only place where maybe they come close to using some kind of proper technical jargon is maybe over here, where the author ends up using the term frontal lobes of the brain. Okay? But even this term is sort of inconsequential to the entire passage, and we can coast through it pretty comfortably, irrespective of whether you are a science student or not. Okay. Now, what we are discussing in this passage is the memory. Okay. Now, the passage starts off, the first paragraph starts off by saying that till date, we used to consider that there is just one particular type of memory by the name of episodic memory. Okay. What about that? Episodic memory, how does it help us or what does it concern? Memory, yaddash in Hindi. Okay. So what is exactly the ability to recall some specific events? Okay. The ability to remember names. All right. Okay. As well as some, basic, super basic stuff like remembering where did I put my car keys and all. And this ability, this good memory power stays practically intact throughout a youth, throughout a working age. Only maybe from 60s does it start to deteriorate. Okay. Now, experts, scientists are actually a bit split regarding the cause how episodic memory starts to decline. While there are certain scientists who say that this is happening because certain parts of your brain, they are starting to degenerate with old age. Basically, it's everybody's common sense that as we grow old, tissues, organs slowly start to deteriorate. The cells cannot heal themselves, and one by one, एक part body का ढीला होते चले जाता है, ऐसा कहते हैं. Okay, so same thing is happening in brain, and that is why the degeneration on the frontal lobes of the brain. Some experts say that this impacts episodic memory. So because of that, ये सारी जो चीजें हैं जहाँ पे आप specific events recall कर पाओ, लोगों के नाम याद रखना, ये धीरे 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 this ability becomes weaker and weaker. While on the other side of the spectrum, you have certain experts saying कि नहीं ऐसा कुछ नहीं है. Age is actually not the reason for losing this ability. These scientists say that it is lack of use. Okay, lack of use of your brain enough, इसलिए memory loss हो गया. मतलब आप अपने दिमाग को ज्यादा push करते नहीं हो. In 60s, people start retiring. They don't need their brain power as much as when they are working. तो इसलिए lack of usage की वजह से, just like any muscle starts to lose its strength if you don't use it enough, same thing happening with your memory in the brain. Okay, all right. So first paragraph takeaway is very straightforward. Episodic memory is declines with age. That's about it. Okay. Now, why exactly it declines? इसके ऊपर consensus नहीं है अभी तक के. What we only know is that starting from mid 60s, apparently people start to lose this. All right. Okay. Then the paragraph the author starts to talk about in the second paragraph. Pause एक minute, रुको. We don't have just episodic memory. Other kinds of memory are also there. ठीक है. क्या चल रहा है? Author के according, there are at least two other types of memory. And what is the good news about those? These two kinds of memory, they don't degrade, they don't become bad or weak because of age. ठीक है? Memory, researchers have identified two other types of memory, neither of which seems to deteriorate with age. Excellent, excellent. मतलब हमारे ब्रेन में 2 और 3 टोटल ऐसे 3 प्रकार की मेमोरीज है. इसमें से सिर्फ एपिसोडिक मेमोरी विल गो डाउन विथ एज, रिमेनिंग 2 आर गुड इनफ. And author goes on to say that because of this is good news, sort of good news, that as people grow older and this becomes weak, elder people can start relying on memory type 2 and memory type 3 to go about in their daily life and to compensate for loss of this. ठीक है, यहाँ पर यही लिखा है. And then the paragraph closes. The third paragraph is sort of inconsequential to the entire narrative. It simply says कि कहाँ से पता चला 2 और 3, मतलब और 2 प्रकार की मेमोरीज होती है, टाइप 2 एंड टाइप 3. Simply because a change in the methodology has taken place. That's it. पहले रिसर्च कुछ और तरीके से किया जाता था. Now some other way of research is being done, and simply because of the shift in the style, shift in the methodology, done. Okay, all right, fair enough. And the author does not go into super detailing as to what exactly the new studies happen. Okay, he simply jumps to memory type number 2 and type 3. Let's highlight those. एक है यहाँ पर semantic memory, and then over here we have implicit memory. These paragraphs, each paragraph is dedicated to talking about what this particular type of memory is. Okay. So from the layout itself, while you're reading the passage, you should be able to capture properly that yes, para 1, 4 and 5 are important because they are relaying to us important, crucial information pieces about the broader topic at hand. Everything else is sort of secondary to the narrative. हमारा focus होना चाहिए para 1, 4 and 5 के ऊपर काफी ज्यादा. You cannot say that अरे मुझे याद ही नहीं आ रहा. After reading the passage, you are like 4 और 5 में क्या लिखा था, I can't recall. If that is happening, then that is not a good sign. You need to go back to the basics. Need to understand how to read RC passages properly. कहाँ ध्यान होना चाहिए, कौन सी चीज के ऊपर में you can let it go. But you cannot be so casual. You cannot be so easy going कि भाई छोड़ दिया 4th और 5th paragraph क्या लिखा था याद ही नहीं. Because when you come to the question, then you are like नहीं, I need to go back and cross check. No, not even cross check, recall. Cross checking is a good idea. Forgetting completely and then doing the same thing all over again, that is not a good idea. Okay. Now coming back to the narrative, picking up where we dropped off. Semantic memory. इसके बारे में क्या बात की गई है? Let's underline. What is this telling us? Semantic memory किस चीज में हमें help करती है? Our ability to recall knowledge and facts. Okay, fair enough. As well as events in the distant past. Wow, nice. How is it different from episodic memory? In episodic memory, we are talking about episodic memory. Type 1 actually helps us in doing what? Specific event याद रखना, नाम जैसी चीजें याद रखना, ability to memorize and recall names. Also recent events and minor details. Whereas in contrast, semantic memory is doing what? Distant past. गई पुरानी चीजें, 50 साल पुरानी बातें याद रखना. Semantic memory. Recent बात 2 महीने, 5 महीने, 6 महीने पहले की बातें, that will be in episodic memory. Okay, so you see the difference. And what is special regarding semantic memory? Researchers say कि ये उम्र के साथ में, as you become older, this does not become weak. Rather, in even rather opposite direction. As you grow older, this might even end up getting reinforced. All right, fair enough. Which is like the story turning completely opposite. Okay, semantic doesn't decline. Bracket में आप यहाँ पे addition कर सकते हो. That maybe even it gets strengthens with age, and because of this, you can see that as people grow older, why do they? This is my guesswork. Okay, this is not written in the passage. That you may see that old people, especially if your grandparents or if they're in the 70s, most probably they cling to their past very strongly. And it is my guesswork that this is because their semantic memory is now very strong and episodic memory has been compromised heavily. So इसीलिए वो खुद के जमाने की बातें, distant past, that when they were young, things that they can recall, वो उसको बहुत ज्यादा चिपक के चलते हैं. क्यों? Because obviously nature is at work. semantic memory stronger compared to episodic memory. All right, and this has been reinforced, this has been cross-checked, validated by a proper study as mentioned by the author here. But you need not get lost in the details of the study conducted over here. All in all, what is happening is that author is simply saying that elderly people who are facing a challenge with respect to loss of episodic memory, they can take the help of their semantic memory, which is going strong with respect to their age, and they can store more information, ability to memorize a lot of stuff using their semantic memory, thus compensating for episodic memory loss. ठीक है. How exactly they can do that? इतना clearly बोला नहीं है. Simply it is said that they can take down notes, mulling over events, maybe ruminating a lot over what has happened, possibly. But yeah, author is saying that two can come to the rescue of one. One आपका weak होता है, उम्र के साथ में इतना लोड की बात नहीं है. Two can still help you sustain. And what about the third kind of memory? Implicit. ये तो और भी common है and almost everybody can relate to it. Sort of like muscle memory, that you are not even conscious that you are exerting and trying to recall something. Example, let's say you are in some part of your hometown और आपको आपके घर जाना है. Maybe you have a car, maybe you have a bike. So do you actually consciously think कि आने वाला second right लेके फिर हम first left लेंगे तो मैं घर पहुंच जाऊंगा? Nothing like that, right? You simply keep on driving and without a lot of conscious thought as to which turns you have to take, which road you have to take, but you still end up reaching your home. What is happening that without any intentional effort, the brain can recall stuff and you are able to carry out the activity. That's it. In this case, a particular example of a golfer who is actually suffering from a memory loss situation, amnesia. The golfer, the old man, had played golf throughout his life. So he ends up utilizing his muscle memory, implicit memory, to even use the right clubs at the right time. Okay, but ends up forgetting, "Arey, maine golf khela abhi." So this is like such a difficult situation to digest. But yeah, this is the power of our brain. This is the power of memory. That certain things, because of a lot of usage over time, because that person was a golfer, इतने बार खेल चुका है वो लाइफ में कि कहीं ना कहीं it has become a part of his muscle memory कि कौन सा क्लब यूज करना है. आप भी इतने बार गाड़ी चला चुके हो, you have gone to your home so many times that the path to your home is now inbuilt in your mind कि हाँ ऐसे करते हैं, बस काम खत्म. Okay, so implicit memory is the third kind. This also doesn't deteriorate with your age. All right, and that's about. What does the last paragraph then tell us? Last paragraph is simply saying that studies from people in their 60s and 70s showed similar results. What exactly? That like people who are suffering from loss of memory, amnesiacs, old people can learn new things, but they won't be able to remember कि कहाँ से सीखा या किसने सिखाया. Like I might be able to teach VRC to an old person. They might learn verbal concepts, but जब application की बारी आएगी, they might not be able to recall कि ये सिखाया किसने या मैं कब सिखा ये exactly. They might end up cracking the CAT exam, but they might not be able to recall कि ये पढ़ाई कहाँ से की थी, कब की थी. No idea. ठीक है. And lastly, there is a sort of important caveat given by the author. Let's highlight that because it is fairly important. Author ends up saying कि देखो ये जो भी findings की गई है memory में और 2-3 types होते हैं, all that stuff, it must be kept in mind कि ये सारे studies they were practically done on people who are sort of fit or not suffering from any ailment regarding the mind, regarding the brain. Okay, these studies do not deal with memory problems which arise because of some injury or some disease regarding respect to the brain. ठीक है, मतलब आप ये फंडे जो भी हमने डिस्कस किया अभी पैसेज में, you cannot apply this to a person who might be suffering from Alzheimer's. Okay, Alzheimer's is a very deadly disease in a way, ailment technically, which is practically like कि आपका ब्रेन बहुत रैपिडली डिग्रेड हो रहा है. ठीक है, so whatever we have discussed that type 2 and type 3 वाला memory can compensate for loss of episodic, ये सारी बातें उनके ऊपर applicable नहीं रहेगी. That's it. ठीक है, so rounding up the passage very quickly, author is saying that till date we used to be concerned only with one type of memory, episodic. How does it help throughout our life? It helps us recall specific event. It helps us recall specific details also, like person's names and all. And then secondly, recent events also. But we have other memories also going on in our mind. Semantic memory, which helps us recall, memorize very old things, distant past में 30-40-50 साल पहले जो हो गया है शायद वो चीजें. And the third one is implicit memory, also we can colloquially call as muscle memory, where you don't even have to consciously memorize something, consciously recall something. आपका brain, आपका body automatic कर लेते हैं कुछ, ठीक है, like driving way back home after going somewhere. Okay, and all of these studies, they are actually not concerned with people who might be suffering some problems with respect to their brain, like Alzheimer's disease, or maybe कुछ लोगों को injury हो चुकी है brain को, उनके ऊपर ये सब applicable नहीं. Okay, so I hope that you understood the gist of the passage. Fairly interesting one, and hardly any challenging. The 4 questions are also okay. I have a bit of problem in one of the options, but other than that, fairly straightforward. Okay, let's go and take a look at it. Based on information, question 1, based on information in the passage, author implies advanced age might adversely affect which of the following. Age की वजह से क्या घटेगा? Age की वजह से तो clearly episodic memory is taking the hit. Semantic and implicit are not affected at all. Okay, so what does episodic memory help you? Specific events, specific details like names, recent events. That's it. Memory of details, specific details of a recent conversation. Correct. One will be definitely affected. Okay, definitely it will be affected, so it has to be taken into account. Recollection of childhood memories, no, not really. Childhood memories, जब आप बूढ़े हो जाते हो, advanced age है आपकी 60s, 70s, 80s में, तो childhood memories are a part of distant past, which falls in semantic memory. It is not affected at all. So 2 is out of contention. Okay. So 2 is out of contention and 1 is there. So obviously all other options fall by the wayside, and only option A is the right one. Okay. So only option A is the correct one only. You don't even have to bother yourself with sentence number 3, which anyway falls under the category of implicit memory. Okay. So very straightforward question. I hope that you got it correct. Still, if you have any doubt, let me know in the comment section. Moving to the next question now. With regard to new research into memory and various points brought up in passage. Okay, you have to take into account entire narrative. Author का attitude क्या है? Okay, basically the tone of passage or the tone of the author, all that stuff. ठीक है. Right off the bat, we can throw out extreme options like option A, option E, unbridled enthusiasm, unreserved joy. अरे बाप रे, मतलब खुशी फूट रही है ऑथर के अंदर. वो हिंदी में हमारे कहावत है ना, फूला नहीं समाना. Right, so much joy inside. बाप रे, कितने जल्दी बताओ, कितने खुशी से बताओ. No, not at all. Look at the narrative, look at the language. Very scientific, very straightforward, no mirch masala anywhere. The author has not even given a single piece of opinion anywhere. Okay, passage looks like straight up from some kind of science journal or magazine. Okay, so A and E get kicked out. Very skepticism, मतलब डर के doubtful. Very means थोड़ा आप सोच समझ के बढ़ रहे हो आगे, doubtful है मन में. Skepticism is also along those lines, doubtful. So author is also not raising any kind of fear or doubts about any. डर थोड़ी रहा है वो किसी चीज. Out. Then the entire problem remains with option C and D. अब ये दोनों बहुत ही close है in the sense that it all depends on your outlook. This is pretty subjective. आपको कैसा लग रहा है? Like for example, whoever said this question, that person has given option C as the official answer. Okay, but according to me, I think I would go with option D only, unbiased objectivity, because author is very straightforward. He is relaying facts before us and nothing else. कहीं पर भी उसने अपना मूड, अपना एंथुसियाज्म, खुशी, दुख, कुछ भी कन्वे नहीं किया है. Okay, so that is why I find this a bit problematic. Official answer which says reserved optimism. Maybe it is my guesswork that they took this reserved optimism simply because author has said that these studies are encouraging. Yeah, this is a bit too much. Just because the word encouraging is there, can't go with an option like this. I would still stand by D, but again, anyway, it's my job to lay out my thought process before you, and I never ever force fit my explanation to justify the official answer. Okay. Other channels, other tutors might do this, but I never ever do it. Okay. So I hope that you understood the explanation. Still, if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. Moving ahead, meanwhile, also please hit the like, share, and subscribe button if you haven't done that already. Okay. Let's go to the next question. Primary purpose, one of my favorite question category, main idea of the passage, right? Okay. Let's get down to option elimination. And before we get there, some broad points regarding the passage. What is the author doing here? Laying out some pretty straightforward objective information before us. No criticism of anything. One thing which you can find very easily is author has not bashed anybody. किसी को गाली नहीं दे रहा है, किसी की तारीफ भी नहीं कर रहा है, to be honest. Okay. So if any option is reflecting this kind of attitude, you can throw it out. Okay. Option B, C, D, we should be able to throw them out without a second thought. Why? B, explain why past investigation into memory tested only episodic memory. Nowhere has he done this. Author simply states that past investigation focused only on episodic. Why? ये नहीं बताया. Author has simply said कि अब जो तरीका है रिसर्च का ये थोड़ा चेंज हुआ है, and because of that, thanks to that, we have this 2 other times before us. New information has come to light. He is nowhere fixating on कि अरे पहले ऐसे क्यों करते थे. Maybe a cursory mention here and that's it. Done away with that. It's not a primary purpose. Out. Option C. Describe recent research into functioning of the brain. This is way too broad. Okay. We are focusing only on one particular aspect of the brain, that is memory. Brain के और भी ढेर सारे functions है, voluntary and involuntary. Keeping the body going on, processing emotions, processing information, all that stuff. Are we dwelling on that? Not really. Okay. So because of this, option C, way too broad in scope, very, very generalizing in nature, can't go with it. D, consider the reasons why episodic memory diminished in later years. ये तो बस एक हल्का सा टच किया है फर्स्ट पैराग्राफ. That some experts say that this is because age के साथ degeneration in brain, while other experts say that it is lack of usage. That's it. इसके बाद में author doesn't even touch the aspect of कि why episodic memory goes down with age. Doesn't dwell on it for a single second. So option D also can't say that it is a primary purpose. Okay, of course kicked out. Then you have two good contenders over here, option A and E. And when you compare them with each other, option A shines far better than E. E actually framing जो हुआ है option E का very lazy sort of. Describe 2 new types of memory. अरे थोड़ा सा बताओ यार, that पहले सिर्फ episodic memory हुआ करता था. Then 2 new types of memory have come to light, which don't degrade with age. This is important information. Something like this. थोड़ा मेहनत लगी, right? Option A, far better. Discuss the ways in which a new theory of memory, it challenges common assumption. What are the common assumption? That episodic memory ही होती है हमारे पास में regarding memory and age. कि उम्र के साथ में आपका memory down जाएगा. No, new theory says what? That both semantic and implicit does not go down. So it is very basic, very common sense that option E is very, very inferior compared to option A, and hence A is the answer. Okay? So I hope that you understood the explanation here and also got it right. Let's move on to the last question. Okay. All right, long question. So I had to actually reduce the font size. So you may be having difficulty reading it on your screen. Based on information in the passage, author would agree with what? What exactly are we talking about? Statement regarding memory problems associated with not age, illness, disease, or injury. Oh, so this last statement. Because memory problems related to disease and injury, author ने कहीं भी बात नहीं किया है passage में. He has simply touched upon those as the last sentence over here. So you simply need to revisit this sentence which I have highlighted in blue and read it. What does the author say? That जो भी research की बात मैंने की है passage में, it is not applicable to people who suffer from these problems. That's it. Okay. So let's see which option goes along with it. Answer option B. But scientists do not anticipate that these studies, concept studies which have been mentioned in the passage, these studies will contribute to our understanding of these disorder. ऐसा नहीं होगा. Yes, that is why author has also made it clear that such studies do not deal with such specific problem scenarios. जो भी बात की गई है पैसेज में, it is applicable only to maybe healthy individuals or normal individuals. ठीक है, that's it. So that is why answer option B, which is practically what the author himself has considered in the passage, वो का वो बात rephrase किया गया है and nothing else. Okay. So I hope that you understood the explanation for this. Other options A, C, D, you should be able to reject. Still, if you have any doubts, let me know in the comment section. This option is actually very straightforward. That is why not touching upon the other options. Still, once again, if you end up having doubts in other option, let me know in the comment section. Also, if any other problems with the passage, mention the timestamps and I'll try to help you out. Okay. Thanks a lot for watching. Please hit the like, share and subscribe button. Share the videos with your friends and in your Telegram groups of CAT preparation. If anyone is looking for a good institute where they can prepare for CAT and OMET, please reach out to me on this contact number or on this mail ID. Okay. I'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.